So, coming back now to the Iran war, I want to know what you think happens next. Is the US just going to bomb Fordo, or do you think Fordo is just a cover for them to bomb the entire country and destroy it entirely?
Second, I think Fordo is just a pretext. They want to pretend like they're going after this nuclear program. Oh, but and then why haven't you hit it? Oh, it's so far underground we can't. So I guess we just have to do what they were always intending to do is get rid of ballistic missiles and destroy Iran's capacity to support the proxy forces that resist Israel's regional ambitions. And they already tested a bunker buster bomb on Yemen and couldn't get far enough there. And Fordo is far more protected than that. They're not worried about it. They know they don't have a nuke. They know this. It's just an excuse to blow up Iran, and they are able to do that. If you look at the missile salvos, they were like 200 the first day, about 100 the next day, and then about 40, and then like 30. Unless they have, they're waiting on something or they're trying to play the war of attrition game. Iran is losing launching pads, fuel, missiles. They
Yeah.
had the top brass taken out. Their scientists were murdered because they're fighting the whole world except for Yemen. I mean, Israel has the full support of the UK, the United States, Jordan, Saudi Arabia,
Yeah,
Al Qaeda
virtually
in
every
Syria.
satellite in the atmosphere,
Yep.
every plane in the sky,
Every eye in
drones,
the
I mean,
sky. Yep.
constant surveillance, cyber attacks, I mean, everything all at once. I was in Iran a month ago.
Hmm.
I got invited to a media festival, and I'm really glad I went because I had a feeling that God forbid it would happen while I was there or it would happen right after, but I wanted to see Iran before, it potentially
Yeah.
gets destroyed. And I don't want to be negative or hurtful to like Iranians who are listening, and obviously they're very worried about what might happen to their homeland, but I really wanted to see it beforehand. And going there, you could just tell. I mean, beautiful country, like they had the infrastructure and everything's incredible what they were able to do under sanctions, but you could just tell that the people felt like there was a cloud of impending doom. And it's unfortunate because it seems like it's about to play out now. I'm not happy to hear that
I don't
this
think
could
they can
happen.
destroy it the way they did Syria and Libya, though, because you're talking about 92 million people. Their army is intact, their navy is intact. They've lost some planes, whatever. Um, they won't be able. I mean, the Palestinians are fucked. That's the result. Like Iran will not be able to protect them, and Israel's going to annex the West Bank and Gaza. That's going to happen.
Mm.
But they're not going to invade Iran with an army and blow up like every home or anything. That is too big. It's too strong. So that won't happen. It's not going to be turned into Paris or something. But it's still really bad, especially for the Palestinians and then the Lebanese because they're next.
Mm. What I think, as you mentioned, so it's unclear if they've been degraded or if they're like holding on for this battle of attrition. There have been accounts that have posted this, and I share their views that the only deterrent Iran really has is threatening the Gulf, their
Yeah,
oil infrastructure, not even the bases. I don't even think they should touch the U.S. bases because they'll just
I
empty it
agree.
like we've seen. The only thing really they can threaten is to trigger a global, not recession, but a depression. Because if they were to destroy the oil infrastructure, like giving all the missiles they've got in those directions, then I mean, they would plummet the global economy. I mean, the Houthi attack in 2021 or something like
That's
that,
right.
two
On the
basic
northern oil
drones
fields.
attacking,
Yep.
yeah, two Saudi Arabian oil fields. It cut Saudi Arabian exports by 50%, and it cut the global supply by 5%. And that was two oil fields with
Exactly.
basic drone attacks that set
And what
fire to
happened
those
after
places for
that?
days.
Suddenly they want peace.
Suddenly
And
they
so
want
they have the
peace. Exactly.
Chinese
It's like,
come in and broker a deal. And that was just, yeah, imagine if they used cruise missiles. I mean, they could just, people talk about closing the Strait of Hormuz. Like, yeah, okay, that's pretty big. But the real big one is just to take out those northern oil fields.
yeah.
And that would put it global lockdown. And that's what's preventing the U.S. from going in Iraq style and doing it for Israel. So instead, they're going to have to support Israel as many planes, as many bombs as they need to get the job done. And
Well,
unfortunately, it
I
looks like
have a
they
theory
can.
now. I have a
Hmm.
theory now. I don't think the US was ever going to send troops, but I think what the US, so first of all, they had Saudi Arabia play nice. with Iran. So Saudi Arabia went there recently, their defense minister, and like, we stand with you and we condemn Israeli aggression. And they keep giving them these statements. But to think that Saudi Arabia all of a sudden is just going to be all cool with Iran after China brokered a deal after 20 years of proxy warfare,
Mm-hmm.
when it's obvious that they're closely working with Israel to normalize with them, and they're basically puppet states for the United States. How could Iran even, think that that's a real thing? But the reason why they did that is to pacify Iran, to take away that one deterrent. Now Iran is like, well, we can't preemptively strike the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. We'll lose the support of the Muslim world, even though they don't have the support of the Muslim world. It's all just talk. It's all yap. I
It's
think what the
this,
United
yeah.
States might do, I think these, and this is just a theory, but I was thinking about this a lot today. I want to know what you think. We know that the Israelis, when they were fighting Hezbollah, when they took out Fuad al-Shukr was like their second in command or something like that. Hezbollah planned this big act of retaliation with like hundreds of missiles that they were going to fire at Iran. Because of Israeli intelligence, they were able to preemptively, with 100 fighter
Fired
jets,
Israel.
take out those launchers before they could even take off. And it was really embarrassing for Hezbollah. They said, oh, Israel's just trying to save face. We did get the rockets off, but it was obvious that they didn't. So I think they're going to try to do the same thing with Iran, but instead of 100 Israeli jets, it's going to be like every Israeli jet plus hundreds of US jets. I'm talking about hundreds of them at once, monitoring every single launch site, which they've been gaining intel on over the last few days. And they have all these, I mean, record breaking amount of aerial refuelers are apparently, moving into that area. So I think they're going to try to carry out the largest continuous airstrike in the history of mankind all across Iran in order to destroy it and prevent it from retaliating in any manner.
Well, they took out Western Iran, like they took air supremacy in Western Iran first from coming from Iraq. Uh, they want to take out the things that were in range and not camouflaged up in the mountains, that they could find. And they keep wanting to light up their grid. They had a drone attack the very first day that went and took out air defense systems so they could get in. And bomb launchers, whatever they pop up, it's like whack-a-mole. Once you reveal your position, and then they go and hit that position.
Right, exactly.
It would only take like 1 or 2 cruise missiles, though, to hit this oil fields and decimate them. Just one. Even the Houthis could do it. So even with the largest airstrike, I still think they could squeeze one out and tag. I mean, the Houthis can hit Ben Gurion Airport with a solo shot without overwhelming the defense systems with drones and lesser missiles.
But the thing is, the deterrent is destroying all of them. Like, one of them would be bad, but if Iran really wants to make good on their threat and really establish deterrence, they'd have to hit all of them. And I think the U.S. is trying to prevent their ability to do that. Like, they'll be okay with one, like, oh, okay, 1 facility, 2 facilities, maybe 3 oil fields, but the majority of them are fine. What Iran was threatening was, no, we'll do all of it. But they haven't made good on any of those kinds of threats.
I think
And I
if
don't
you
want to sound
got
like I'm
like 8 or
advocating
9
for
would
it.
be enough. I think they have the capacity to tag it. They also have the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz, and in this way. I don't think they have the Navy, especially with U.S. and Israeli subs, to control who comes in, who comes out. All they really have to do, though, is have a firefight in the area, and the boats won't go. The insurance will be they're just, all they have to do is cause enough chaos that is effectively also a closure. And that's Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and half of Saudi Arabia, all stuck in the strait. That's one option. And then however many oil fields they can take out from Saudi Arabia, even if it's like 3 or 4, if one was 5%, 3 or 4 is enough.
Right.
Getting them all would be glorious. But
that's a good point.
So that is why the U.S. can't go in balls to the wall. They have to continue to support Israel to do it. And it looks like Israel is like 50-50. I mean, they do have air supremacy. They can. They're trying assassinations. But you look at Israel's worried because they wouldn't be saying, oh, they have a nuke. Oh, they're going to give a nuke to Yemen. Oh, they tried to kill Donald Trump. Oh, they're going to do America help, America help. The one side they're saying we're doing fine, we got this, and the other they're begging America to come in and save them. Because Iran, Israel's not used to getting hit, and its populations are running back and forth to air raid shelters. The Jews, at least. The non-Jews aren't allowed down there. This is how racist that country is.
Yeah,
Oh, you're a
apartheid in
worker
the
from
shelters.
Thailand? You can't come down here. You're not the chosen race. You're the wrong ethnic group. Get up there, goy.
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
that's
It's
apartheid
like
in the
they live
shelters.
there. They work with you. Like, we even let you be here and work for, $10 a day or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they
And you've
did
seen
let
it.
African American, or not, I don't know, they're not African American, but they did let African people in there, but they all had the same color shirt on. They were all wearing orange, and they were like dancing and singing. They were like forced to keep up the spirits of the chosen
Yeah.
race in the bunker.
Bring the entertainment down here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the same people that put a curfew on African migrants where they're not allowed outside at night. So
Mm.
that is, they don't have equal rights. They never have. I mean, they're just getting the, I don't even get it, but like, actually, Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal did a documentary on that back in, what was that, 2015 or something,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, it's a good one.
So, what do you think the United States does then? Because Israel says they're running out of interceptors. I feel like the only reason why they would admit that, I mean, they don't even want to show damage. So why would they be leaking to the press that they're running out of interceptors?
To get more foreign aid from the U.S.
So you think that's how they'll help them? The U.S. will just keep giving them weapons and money?
They're running out of interceptors, but they can get resupplied and refit. But the thing is, even the U.S. doesn't have a high supply of that either. They dumped a lot in Ukraine, and some of their systems are misfiring and hitting each other or hitting themselves. They reserve the right to attack themselves. We
Yeah.
joke. It's not clear, even if they do have the interceptors, that still, yeah, it's definitely better than not having them. But Iranian missiles are cutting through anyway, and hitting things at will, closing down Haifa. Economically, with Eilat bankrupt from the Houthis and Haifa teetering from Iran, they could anaconda Israel. The thing is, even though they could cripple them solo, it's just like Ukraine. They're going to get all their money from abroad and all their weapons from abroad. And
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Go bomb the factories in America? You can't reach it. You can't do it. So one side basically has the global supply, and Iran has Iran and Yemen. So who's going to run out of what first? Sad to say, and I don't like this. I don't like reporting that, but you can't get stuck on the copium hopium train. Like, this is not
Exactly.
going
I
well.
don't like it either, but I got like harassed out of a space the other day for basically alluding to what you're saying now. I said Iran is vulnerable, and I got like harassed and like, stop being negative, and you're a secret
I'm a
Jew, blah blah blah.
professional at making people get mad at me for telling the truth. You're such a dick. I'm like, yeah, I'm honest. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
haven't been wrong though. Like, I called it on Iraq and to see all these things. I was like, this is what they're gonna do. I remember the day Joe Biden got elected or selected. I was just mad. I was like, well, we're going to war in Ukraine. Like, that's it. I was just sitting there on my Rumble podcast and Odyssey saying, that's it. It's a done deal. They're definitely going back there. Because that plan, they were supposed to go in. They thought Hillary was going to get in, and they were going to do that in 2017. That's why you had John McCain and Lindsey Graham going over there going, 2017 to be the war of offense. Lindsey Graham, the only guy that's got his own entrance music for truck stops. You know
yeah.
about Miss Lindsay, right? Kind of guy that drinks bottled water with two hands.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that.
I got a whole thread on him. He could gargle peanut butter. It's my favorite.
We'll have to
He
do a
made a
separate
mess.
we'll have to have a separate conversation about him one day.
He's
But
compromised. Like, I don't care if someone's gay, but like, if it's a secret, then someone has leverage over you.
right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm hoping AI can liberate people from secrets. I'm hoping that people could just say that's not true, it's AI, and that will just liberate people from blackmail.
It's almost that point, since everything's so fakeable, that even if you have something on video, it won't matter. It's like fake. Yeah.
So
It's got,
I'm hoping that will somehow liberate people from blackmail.
I think the opposite's going to happen. I think they're going to use AI and say it's real and be
Mm,
like, oh, AI is not that advanced yet, even though it is. And the real AI, not the crap commercial version. They can
yeah.
already fake everything. And like, look at this. Look at all the footage of look what blew up in Iran, look what blew up in Israel. And they're both lying. It's always AI. Like,
Yeah, a lot of it's AI.
a
A
lot of
lot
the
of
Epstein photos are fake. It makes things very hard to determine now because they're retroactively going back and They're taking real photos and altering them too. Everything's going to be fake and gay. I think the main use of AI is just going to be porn and humiliation and revenge, like petty internet crap.
Yeah,
It
like
could be used for such good things, but it won't be. I agree with Uncle Ted on this.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's not gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be used to kill people. Death tech,
well, it
as
already
America calls
has.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Palantir. Yeah.
yeah. So, what do it doesn't? It seems like you're not very optimistic about Iran's chances. But so what? How do you see this playing out?
I do see a way out for them,
Hmm.
but it's really not up to them. Like the big, who has obviously Israel runs America, but which faction in the world has the capacity for the most resistance against what America's doing?
It's Russia and China. R-
No,
no, who?
Americans themselves.
Hmm.
Nobody has more impact than Americans. And so, we need leadership. We have Tucker, Candace. You're seeing a lot of MAGA break away.
Mm,
That does bother Trump. He's MIGA. He's always been a dirty MIGA.
mm,
That's Make Israel Great Again.
mm.
They need to break away and do it vocally and saying, "Don't you dare go into Iran. What are you doing? They're murdering all these children. They didn't have nukes." Like, we have to win that. We have to make it so enough Americans, especially within the Republican Party, because that's who's in charge, to eviscerate Ted Cruz, to destroy Randy Fine and Mark Levine and all these other Jewish supremacists. They need to get wrecked. And bless that spurg Elon Musk for being naive enough to think free speech is allowable. Like, I'm back on Twitter.
Yeah,
If I wasn't, imagine how bad things would be if all of us were just still on Telegram and places where nobody can see you.
yeah,
The fact that we can, I know Twitter spaces are shit, but the fact that you do have a place where you can put things that people can see it is why we've gotten red pills to some pretty prominent figures that used to have cable news network shows that were big, that are seen, that have millions of views. Shows like Judge Napolitano and that whole guest list: Lawrence Wilkerson, Ray McGovern,
yeah.
Larry Johnson, Scott Ritter. These people are becoming like celebrities now, where you never would have heard them talk in the past.
Right.
So there is the people who have the most influence on American politics are American themselves. And it's up to us, especially if you live in the United States. Like, you are the only ones who can stop America is America.
Mm,
China isn't going to, China doesn't, I hate this when we're like, what's China? China will draw the line at Pakistan. They don't care about Iran. As long as whoever the next person in charge is sells them oil and gas, they don't care about Iran and Palestine any more than Iran and Palestine care about Taiwan,
yeah.
which is not at all.
Right.
Why should they? I get it. But like Russia, they got their hands full. They're fighting NATO and Ukraine. And the sanctions are having an effect. They did very well finessing their way when they got kicked off of SWIFT. They've done all the moves they should have done. They did some naive things too, but they are slowly winning that war in Ukraine, but it doesn't matter. They just want you tied up long enough that they can finish their Middle East plan. And then whatever, they don't care about Ukrainians. 100,000 of them are dead. Some are saying 1,000,000. I go with the lower numbers until proven otherwise. But that's bad enough. 100,000 dead. Who knows how many other casualties are. Zelensky doesn't care about the people of Ukraine. Starmer and Macron, they don't care about people in Ukraine. It's just a way of handcuffing Russia while they serve Israel in the Middle East. That's all. Then there really, who else is around? I mean, there's some Shia factions in Iraq. There's Yemen. There's a little bit of Hezbollah left. So they're not without any allies. And
So I want to push back just a little bit. I do like that you're giving us a window of hope, and we do need to believe that as
you
Americans,
gonna crush the window? Great. Let's go.
well, no, yes, but I mean, in America, when have Americans ever had any influence on policy, domestic or foreign policy?
I'll
So
give you an example. I
okay,
can give you an example. So they used to say, remember when George Bush did Iraq War One? He said we kicked Vietnam syndrome.
yeah,
Then his son did Iraq War II and kind of re-implemented Iraq syndrome. the proxy war in Syria, which took, about 11 years, was the way it was because they could not invade Syria. And we know John Kerry was on hot mic admitting this.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of Americans called into Congress saying, we do not want boots on the ground in Syria. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so they had to go option B, which was sponsoring ISIS groups. It looked really bad. You're sponsoring Al Qaeda. That's a hard one to explain. But they did prevent the Iraqi style hot invasion that they had planned because they got active. On
Right,
a
but the war
lesser
took
extent,
place
you can see
anyway. But the war took place anyway.
they
You know what I
still
mean?
got it done, but it was much longer and more difficult. And they did have, another decade of not being completely murdered. But I'm just giving an example. Like, that was a major theater of war that they almost got. Like, Trump had ended supplies. Assad did take back a lot of territory. And then Joe Biden got in. And then, once the Democrats in charge again, that it was over. And they were
Yeah.
all distracted by COVID and this and that.
Well, I think they know
But
they can never send Americans to war again. So they're trying to wage war in a new way. And that started really with Obama, right? Obama came in and he was like,
mhm.
okay, we're gonna, get out of Iraq. But then he ended up bombing more
I mean,
countries.
he invaded Libya straight up. So that was like because the Europeans were with them and they led from behind. They did the whole air campaign in Libya and sent Al Qaeda in on the ground. They wanted to
Well,
do the
yeah,
air
that's what I
campaign in
mean.
Syria.
But that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Al Qaeda was on the ground. It wasn't American troops, and that's why I think people had difficulty imagining this Iran war taking place because they think, oh, don't send American troops over there to go die, right? It's like, well, they're not
Oh,
going
they
to
won't.
invade. Okay, well, they're in the bases. Well, the Americans are pulling them from the bases now, so they're trying to find innovative ways to go to war. And so I'm not trying to be discouraging. I just like I saw a tweet from Chris Hedges. I don't know if you follow him at all.
Well, the truce with Yemen, perhaps. I mean, that they got a lot of shouting about that, and they did finally end that. And Yemen continued to bomb Israel, and they're like, oh well.
Yeah.
But that also could have been, oh look, we're serious about this deal, Iran. See, we made a deal with Yemen, so you can
Yeah,
believe us. I
and it
think
was
that's what
also
that was.
it was also to degrade their abilities, which took place. It's all about
It
mitigating
did.
the blowback with the Iran war. So they degraded Hezbollah, they degraded Ansarullah. They'll both be able to respond, but nowhere near their original capacities because they've been bombed to hell. So
Well, maybe domestically they won some battles, like they made transgender surgery illegal. They got rid of affirmative action. That was replaced
yeah,
PDA.
yeah.
No more
I'm
paper
not trying to
straws.
suggest we
Like,
had.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
just
trying
trying to
to
look
say
at
we
things
have
like
no effect.
marijuana is legal because of state referendum in 22 states. Not that I agree with that, but that is something they decided to do and they got it
Right.
done. Um,
But that's within
which is
the
funny. Like
bounds
when
of
they
what.
really care about something, like pot,
Yeah.
they can affect change, but they don't. Like Wall Street occupation wall, that was a fail. They got away with all of it.
Yeah.
Um, Epstein, okay, a portion of them were arrested. Epstein was arrested. Maxwell was arrested. Burnell was arrested. And many others had to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements. So sometimes, but yeah, we have a long list of L's compared to W's for sure. But
Yeah.
I would argue the American public isn't galvanized and isn't active and isn't organized. And they couldn't be because they had no social media until super recently. You're
Mm.
not, Facebook is Zog. Meta Zog, YouTube is Zog. If you say anything like Palestinians are people, you get banned. PayPal, Patreon, they all the things I've been kicked off of. X is the only place, the only time where you could organize, but it hasn't been around long enough to for this to occur. But I think the incidences we said, like with Owens and Tucker and so on, and maybe Walsh, is because of X, because they're actually seeing other opinions for the first time in their life.
Right.
I just don't think it's going to be soon enough. I hope so, and I'm going to do everything to make it so. But if it stays the way it is and the activism remains, it's not going to be fast enough.